see all these people I can see through, and they're exercising by the flag and by the front of the school.
This is, I'm not like, this is interesting because.
Hey, what's up, man? I want to tell you a
up?
story. When I saw shadow people exercising late at night out front of the school. Do you want to hear the story?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, this sounds interesting.
All right, shadow people. We're going to talk about. All right, so where do I begin? So I'm a teenager.
Okay.
I'm 14 or 15. I'm probably 15, okay? So the change has happened. I was no longer a kid. I was making my own identity. But since I'm the youngest of my family, I have my brother who's older than me. And I was influenced greatly by people in my family, right? I didn't want to be. I just kind of was. I think it's like,
the natural course, right?
Like I'm a Virgo and I'm like a 9 and I hear the 9s like do this. So my brother liked heavy metal music and I was just getting into music. And it's really weird because he was an altar boy, my brother. And then he got like puberty and he became like this like angry kind of angsty metalhead, like bad attitude. And,
I could imagine.
Had a mouth on him, and he liked to bully people smaller than him. Like he wasn't like nice. He wasn't nice to me sometimes. So like he started listening to heavy metal, and he got me into it. So I started listening to like King Diamond, and the King Diamond itself is just. Should we look at King Diamond real quick? I think we have to.
I think it's worth. Yeah.
All right, so I was explaining this artist to you, King Diamond. This was the music.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I liked it because they were concept albums, and each album was a story. And
neat.
I thought that was. Wait till you get a hold of this. All right, wait. Like if you.
Wow, you know what this reminds me of?
Please tell me.
I think it was Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he did the Dracula opera.
Yes.
Not to be. It sounds. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this.
He might know who King Diamond is.
He might. Actually, that's probably true. Yeah.
Terrible how he introduced me to this. I eventually got into like R&B and like all this other stuff, which thankfully, because no girl liked me at this point. No one didn't dislike me.
Oh sure, yeah. It's the the early or mid teen years. You could say, yeah, things can get kind of funny.
Yeah, so I guess you could say...
As far as our tastes and perhaps women's taste or lack thererof in us.
Yeah, and it was more like a personal thing. I was angsty, and I did listen to like Pantera and Metallica. This was just like, I just liked the album because it was a concept album, and it was like a whole story within the album. I liked that, but the way he sang was just strange. It's
so interesting. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, nice. Yeah, here we go.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. So it's important that I show you that, because that was the kind of music I was listening to.
I like it though. Yeah. It makes you it's like you're forging your identity, and not to get too deep into human development or whatever,
but pick a persona.
It's like you're forging an identity, and this is very different, right? This is different from maybe what seemed different from what most probably were listening to.
So all my
other you and your brother.
Right. Well, we didn't listen to it together. I liked Metallica. I liked the good stuff.
Oh, sure.
Too. This was just like my weird. I mean, some people really liked Alice Cooper and all that stuff. He did, and he did some weird stuff. David Bowie did weird. They're like
David Bowie.
Weird artists. And I just I think in school things weren't going my way. I had a bad perception of things.
Sure.
There was a lot going on, and I'm a brooder and a thinker and all this stuff. So I used to go over to my friend's house in the town next door, and they had a band. It didn't sound like that. They had a normal regular kind of band, and I was real into music, and I still like music to this day. I can really dial in with it. So what I'm trying to get at was, this was all around the same time. I would go over there and hang out. They smoked cigarettes, and we were doing adult stuff, but as teenagers, and drinking shots of vodka in the shed.
There you go, rock on, brother.
Just being some teenage. I was basically a teenage dirtbag, is what I was.
Right,
that's exactly what I was.
The stupid things we do sometimes as teens, when you look back, you realize, oh man,
and
what? That
to
was
my credit, I wasn't
bad,
alone. I
right?
had a lot of friends at this time. I was friends
Sure.
with easily like 15 people at that time, and I saw them a lot. So it wasn't just me like in the corner like thinking like. So anyway, I used to like to test myself. So I would go to this hill. This hill. There's now a Walmart where this hill used to be, and I would go listen to King Diamond, The Eye. This is an album about like this priest who's messing with this nun. There's like a whole story.
Oh,
And
okay. Oh wow, yeah.
and the music is so like Addams Family. It's just like this whole vibe.
Yeah.
It's like Halloween all day in New Year's. And I just remember sitting on this hill, and I was like, I say all this because it's important to get the environment that I was in. So
sure.
I was on this hill, and I was listening to a song called "Two Little Girls," and it's like a Stephen King kind of like it's like something that okay. You ever watch The Shining, and there's the two little girls in the hallway?
Yes,
It
the famous scene with the
That's what the song's vibe is kind of like. So anyway, that happened the night before. I'm sure I was angsty. I'm listening to heavy metal music. And long story short, I go over to my friend's house and I come home. All right, so long story short, I told you all about the music and about the friends I'm hanging out with, and I'm angsty. I am basically a teenage dirtbag. That's what I am. So here I come down these steps. I'd say it's a weekday. I think it was a school night. I was walking home. So it was right near the school I went to as a kid. It was my grade school. It's like right next to where I would live. So I know this school. I identify with it. I've been in it.
Yeah, you were, But
I went down the one way I normally don't, which is down these steps. There was these long steps that came off of the pike. So it was like you come through the pike, you go right down these steps, and you could walk right there. It wasn't that common that way. So I'm coming down these steps. And I'm looking down there, and there's this part where like the flag is the American flag, and like the sign that lets you know.
I got you.
Yeah, and I never really was on that side because I always lived on the other, so I would walk that way. So it was a different way of walking, but I totally knew it. I wasn't scared. So I come down, doop, and I can see it in my head still. So I'm making it down to the next part of the long concrete that leads to the road, and I see all these people I can see through, and they're exercising by the flag and by the front of the school.
This is interesting because there were people, see-through type.
Yes.
You could say people.
Yes.
Like ghostly figures of some
they
sort?
were okay, so you ever like look at your shadow when you walk on a sunny day and it's like kind of angled, like crooked when you're walking, and
that
you
long
see him?
kind of distorted kind of look.
They were like that, but they were actually three-dimensional and like in a big group. And
no way.
So what it seemed like to me is they were exercising. They were getting their workout in. They were doing it as like a team, as a group. And there was like
really wild.
They were doing like side bends, and they were doing jumping jacks, and they were like running in place. They were getting like
shadow calisthenics.
They were like they were exercising. And I'm walking closer and closer, and I see them, and they start to see me, and I'm like, why are they? First of all, why are they exercising? Which was the thing that got me the most. And then they started, and then they didn't seem too concerned with me. Like I wasn't the big deal to them. So like now, this music I was in, this pocket I was in, this time frame, maybe I was in like a different sort of space where they weren't mean. They weren't negative. It wasn't like they scared me. They just were working out. So I was like, well, I'm still going home. So I walked past them. I went past them. They were kind of like over there, like 50 feet or whatever. And then I just started to walk on the sidewalk, and I was like, they're still over there exercising. And I mean, I'm talking about super jumping jacks, like.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like an illusion of not like a lighting issue. As you walked, you could.
Oh yeah, they were there the whole time.
It was the same, shadow people exercising.
Yes.
They were throughout.
Yeah, and they were
like
really.
They didn't just vanish because of a lighting change or whatever.
No, and they were really focused. They were doing a team thing, and it just seemed like they didn't care if I saw them or not.
Out of this world.
So I'm starting to run. I'm on the sidewalk. They're behind me now, and I'm starting to kind of run from my house, right? And then they're jogging, so they're kind of going fast too. And I'm like, why? There's like 10 or 15 of them, and
What is this?
they're starting their jog. Like, if you were in the army, you're with your group, and then
Yeah,
you
right,
jog
like
together.
Yep.
That's
The
exactly.
basic training, so to speak. Yeah, yeah.
So, no kidding. I start to run. I'm like, and my house is like right around the way, right? So I run around the corner. I run up to my house. I get the key out. I'm like, right? So I go inside. I close the door. I'm like, what the heck was that? I'm like, why could I see through them? Why didn't they have faces? And then I went to my bedroom.
That is weird, man. Yeah.
And then I went to here. This is the rest. This is kind of near the end. So I go in my bedroom and I lay down, and my mattress was on the floor. I had no bed. I was a weird kid at that point, so it doesn't make.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were it was floor, mattress.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was it.
I was just living that
man.
That headbanger life. I
Yeah,
had like long
yeah.
hair. I mean, I'll have to put a picture of it. I didn't say that part. Yeah, I was like the headbanger.
Yeah, I
kids.
can picture this. This is great. This is great.
So-
this is like.
This is what happened. So I laid on my bed finally. I mean, I was shook. I probably played like the game or something, or I don't know what I
Yeah.
did to calm down. And I went to sleep. And I woke up sometime later, and I got to pull this up because I think it's here. Okay, is it here? The half person. This is what they looked like when they were exercising in front of the school.
Right.
This
Look
is
at that.
kind of what they were like. They were really locked in. So
Oh
let me
man, that's crazy. That's so wild.
let me just tell you about the last part. So I wake up.
Yeah.
And there is a shadow person, no face, but they were younger. I could tell they weren't like adult, and they had their head on their hand, and they were looking at me and watching me sleep. And
It's so creepy at so many levels, right?
half of that shadow was
Yeah.
in the floor. It was only the waist up.
Just the waist up was kind of
like this.
watching you sleep.
Yes.
Like some kind of.
And I woke
That's
up.
so weird.
And I looked over, and my fight or flight, I punched it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I swung at it. I didn't like go in a corner and cry. I just swung at it.
Yeah.
And it disappeared, and I laid in my bed going, what was that? And I wouldn't sleep with the lights off for probably a year or two after.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's kind of scary, right?
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
feels, so real. Like it just what is going on there?
The
That
weirdest
is-
part was the half of the shadow person doing like this. Like just, it looked almost
That
like
is a bit weird. Yeah.
a
That's
parent would
freaky.
look at a child sleep or something. It was like not
Yeah. Right.
aggressive. It was just watching me
Watch
sleep.
it. Yeah. It's like, of
It's
course, yeah. It's
crazy.
like flight, or freeze kicks in. Right.
Yeah. I
It's like
swung.
you chose fight.
I did.
Basically.
I
Yeah.
did.
You
I
know, or
did.
chose might not be the right word, but yeah, fight was what came out, and
And I thank you for listening to that. And
yeah, you bet.
there is a good
It's a good story.
there's a good part to the end of it. So I changed my mindset. My friend was like, he was cool. He was like real popular. He was great at soccer. He was like my best friend. We kind of drifted
Oh,
apart.
nice.
He always gave
Yeah.
me good advice. I should have listened to him more. And he's like, dude, he's like, you should cut your hair. You look like a dirt ball, and no girls are gonna like you. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of like not my look or
no
my
way,
thing.
really?
And
You
he
kinda
was like,
gave
he
it-
became a hairdresser eventually. He's like, let me
Good
cut
advice.
your hair. And he gave me like that
Cool.
surfer haircut with like the long
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a
was
good
like-
one.
it was like faded
Yeah.
in the back. And I
That's neat.
swear, instantly, as soon as I did that, I started to listen to like different music, and
Mhm.
I just became a much more bright and light person. And
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
so many more people,
Yeah.
people were gravitating towards me and just liking me, and I had great relationships with a lot of people. And
That's great because
Um,
I've noticed that too, and you're a positive kind of light, airy, breezy person, so to speak. You have a easy personality, let's say.
Yeah.
People tend to gravitate towards you. More.
Yeah.
Yeah, they find you popular,
yeah,
alluring,
because it wasn't
interesting.
me. It was just me kind of experimenting with like sounds, I guess, and vibes. And
Oh
like,
yeah,
music
yeah.
and
And
stuff.
as when we're young, right? When we're young, I know I did too. We experiment with looks and identities. It's all trying to find ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Trying to find our place in the world. where
So,
we think we fit
but
best, yeah.
to summarize about the shadow people, I never felt like they were evil or mean.
That's interesting.
I
Yeah, they were
feel
just
like I just was
there,
able
right?
to see them and watch them because they weren't interested in me really. I mean, the one
Mhm.
peeked on me probably because I ran, but like they weren't mean in any way.
Yeah.
And I don't think they
No,
were,
no malice or
No.
evil or
I mean,
hostile intent or anything.
I mean,
Just kinda-
I swung the punch, so I don't know. I mean, I was scared. I was very scared.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, that would. I'll be honest. That would scare me too, for sure. If I had
Yeah.
any experience like that, that would.
And
scare the daylights
I didn't know
out
how
of
to
me, too.
quantify it, and I made a video myself talking about it, but I thought it would be easier to tell you the story. And I've thought
Yeah.
about it over time, and I just seemed to me like wherever your intentions and energy are, that veil will become more open to you.
I think that's a great point. Like whatever energy you're carrying, whatever your thoughts, whatever you think about most consistently, you become. They say, like a lot of self-help.
Yeah.
But I think there's truth to that. What you think about most often, you're almost. I've heard it likened to a radio tuner, or the channel on your TV, whatever
frequency,
channel you're
yeah.
tuned into, you're more likely to receive.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of your outgoing signal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of. I find it a useful tool to help remind us to keep our minds in the right places. Right?
Yeah, I think I was sort of like being repetitive in my pattern. I was being consistently in a certain position, and I don't even think what I saw was evil or bad. I think it was just like it was like, I don't know, it just really seemed like I could just see something that normally wasn't there. And maybe the way they were acting, it seemed like they really they called each other and like, yo, I'll be there at 8:00. Why don't you come? We'll, as a team, we'll go exercise together.
Oh, right. Let's all get together and exercise a little bit.
It was like they
were, get a little fresh air.
Yeah, it's like they were a soccer team or something. Like they were practicing for a game or some type of athletic pursuit. They were training for something. That's what it was.
That's great. And in your honor, if I ever start a football club or whatever, I'm going to call it the FC Shadow.
FC
the Shadows, something like that. Yeah,
so,
that's great. It is a great story. I like it.
Well,
like
so I want to put the other end of it too, because as I was wondering about this over the years, I've looked it up online. It's pretty deep, and a lot of cultures have it. And we're gonna watch this video, and this will make you think that they're all super evil. It's better to think of it the way I do, because this is not the way.
Sure.
Through your bedroom in the dead of night. No features, no expressions, just black humanoid.
That's what they look like. Yeah.
That's so wild. Yeah. So this guy's describing him as you saw it.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Shapes flickering in and out of view. These are the shadow people. Some witnesses only catch a glimpse.
So nothing like that. That's not that's horrifying.
That seems
that's like a Hollywood movie. I didn't see that.
Glimpse from the corner of their eye, while others see them clearly. Some see them during sleep paralysis, frozen in fear. They're most often seen at night, standing still or moving quickly through rooms and hallways. Some believe shadow people are demons, feeding off fear and negative energy. Among many sightings is the Hat Man, a shadowy figure.
This is the whole thing they get into. Like, this is a whole conspiracy theory, Twilight Zone thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's like people see this guy in a hat.
Wearing a wide-brimmed hat, often linked to demonic activity. Witnesses describe him standing completely still, watching, waiting. Others think shadow people are interdimensional beings slipping through the cracks of...
I think it has something to do with that. I think it was a different frequency. Maybe those shadow people go to school there. Maybe that's like they
right. Like,
they just use our facility and, pop in and out. And
yeah, you guys go during the day and then maybe at night or whenever. That's their time at school, right? It's like a...
what I learned, what I hear all them people talk about with the UFOs, like they say that I think I told you before that the ships can go through solid objects and be.
Oh right, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Maybe there's things that live here that can enjoy all of our things we build, and not even have to be like in the same physical space as us, but still somehow share it.
Right, somehow. Yeah, there's I'm no scientist or physicist or anything of that sort. So what I'm about to say is probably, it might be just completely debunked by somebody somewhere. But there's so much we don't understand, right? And we may yet understand more about what's floating around with us, or or are we it, right? But it is just so interesting because it does pique your curiosity. I like it.
Reality. Despite many sightings across the world, no clear explanation exists.
No eyes like that. That would
the
be,
eyes.
I'd be immediately telling you about the eyes.
What are the shadow people, And why are they?
Night
So
Files.
I just want to summarize this with I think
Yeah.
this is important for mental health or whatever. So
Sure.
I practice extensively in pushing the most clean, beautiful light I can push, and I try to give as much love as possible to the people who I can love and who love me, right? And I do this thing now where you do a little exercise, you eat right, and then I go take these cold showers, and they just invigorate me, and I feel so clean and cleansed. And then
Nice.
I go and I breathe and I think and I wish well, and I'm telling you, whatever comes out of that, whatever that vibration is a much cleaner and healing and beautiful energy. And it's interesting that we can have both within us, but if you do that one, I feel like it cleans far and wide. And it
I think.
it could just be a mentality and a mantra at some point. You can make it
I agree.
smaller and you can know it, and then you can blow it up. It's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I do really it seems to happen, at least the way I think of it, is you do get what you receive, or you receive what you give out in the world. You get what you give. And so whatever kind of you're giving out, for lack of better words, good vibes,
Yeah.
you're more likely to get those good vibes in return somehow. Maybe not directly. I mean, it's not like 1-to-1, but it does seem to work out. And I find amazingly well. So it's pretty accurate. So you give out good vibes, you'll get good vibes. Give out negative vibes, you'll probably get negative
Well,
vibes.
the problem was specifically that age I was. You're going into puberty, and your brain
that's a tough time for anyone, right?
is
Yeah.
changing so rapidly, and you're experiencing things so differently.
Yeah.
Your sweat glands. I mean, you just changed so fundamentally, and
Everything's changing. Yeah.
if you don't
so
get
fast.
good guidance from people who are older than you, you can really get a lot of anxiety and depression and self-hating and self-sabotage. And I mean, you just really can like hijack yourself so bad at that age, and you'll enjoy it. You'll pursue it. You'll spite yourself. You'll spite other people. And you're like, oh, it's so strange. And then when you snap out of it, it's good. You got to be careful with that age,
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, you got to be careful. Like you said, good guidance. I think it's important to have good relationships with people around you, people who care about you, people who know they're not going to let you go too far off the rails.
Yeah.
Yes, experiment, find your identity.
Yeah.
There should be enough freedom for someone to do that.
Yeah.
At the same time, don't go too far off the edge. Hey, don't go straight to the edge of the cliff. Don't fall off, metaphorically.
Yep. And the other thing I
really.
can add too with music, I love music. I understand it. I experience it very well. I can merge with it when I exercise and ride my bike. I figure out each little timing and each little 16th note and each little 4/4 beat, because I played music theory, so I understand how music can be expressed. And I just think that at this point now, I listen to music without any lyrics, because I don't want your message. I don't want your sounds. I just want the music.
Yeah. I could understand that.
Yeah.
You just want the
music.
music, not necessarily some agenda or language.
Yep.
Spoken
Or somebody's
song.
slant on it,
with
because
it.
all that stuff's like
Sure.
angsty
Sure.
and angry. And if you just get the music, it's a much different experience.
Oh yeah. You're right about that. Yeah, it's true. It's a lot of.
But don't get me wrong. If you can get some like humming in there, or some guys going oosh, whoo, I like that stuff. I like that sound that you might not be able to sing, but if 50 men start going whoo, you'll resonate. You'll feel.
Oh,
that,
it does.
you know?
Yeah, you feel like those. I can't think of a good song, but almost like those. I don't know the name of the group, but there's songs where there's a kind of a chant or a.
Yep.
Or a.
I want to.
And you hear these guys.
wanna
like
show
they're
it to
ready
you.
for something. Like
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like it would end this video nicely.
Powerful.
I'm gonna pause and I'll find it and I'll bring it back. I want you to see.
Yes.
All right. So just to illustrate the power of sound and music, I just wanted to pull this up.
Yeah.
This is a great indicator of how music and connecting it to a sound can, I think, change the fabric of the universe. I mean, it's powerful.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
This is one
Waiting
of
for
my
the French to
favorite,
peel off the tracksuits,
performances. Yeah, the New
stand
Zealand
in front of them,
national
and
rugby
receive
team.
the challenge of the haka.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's like a challenge and intimidation.
They're not really showing their faces as much because they make those crazy faces with the tongue.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah. They stick the tongues out and they get yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a unified taunt / power up, I guess.
Right. Yeah,
It
yeah.
really
To
is.
get you like amp yourself up. And
Here we go. Here we go.
fighting the other. Yeah, here we
This
go.
is a better example. I love the faces, the spit
Yeah,
in
the
the
faces,
tongue.
the,
It's just
but
so
like the
great.
hissing, the whole. Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah. Ah.
What's interesting is I'm not sure if that's the one because they have different versions, but one of them is the lyrics are something like oh I can't remember the exact, but it's something like this is the sound of the hairy man and he will fight as the sun rises and sets or something like that.
So
It's really powerful stuff. It's
very
like
masculine, right?
yeah, very masculine, very strong. Yeah, just evokes that sense of strength and power. Don't mess with them.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, very cool.
what I was trying to get
I
at
love that whole.
is, if once you have enough consciousness to understand that you have a voice in your head, you should start to understand what that voice is and quiet that voice. You should also, understand that the stuff you put into comes back to you in a lot of different ways throughout the parts of your life. And now I'm so much light. I try to push so much that it's just like, I don't know.
That's a great thing.
It's hard to see the brightest if you've at least seen, like, you're not the darkest, but you should at least know what the gray is,
Yeah, yeah. I think we've all seen, hopefully, not the darkest of the dark, but we've all been to places, in our minds or even in reality that are just, they're miserable.
I'll take you one step further. You can see the darkest of dark because you can watch the History Channel and they have all this footage of World War I.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And if you're empathetic,
you do see it in the world for sure.
If you're empathetic, you can see what we as humanity as a whole has done to us and everything else.
Yeah,
and it is really super savage.
There's some vicious, savage behavior. There's also amazing behavior. It's funny. It's like two sides of that.
Yeah.
That coin, and like you said, one gets what one focuses on, I think, and then focusing on the lighter side, the better side, not ignoring the darkness. Carl Jung would probably bristle at that.
Yeah, you should.
He would say you have to integrate it, but you control it and you understand, like, then, for lack of better words, control it or understand it and say, no, I choose the lighter side of things.
It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war.
Hey, that's great, man. That's brilliantly said.
It's written somewhere said better, but that is the gist.
That is a great quote. Yeah, I like that.
To be a warrior in a garden.
Well said.
Well, I think that was cool. I thank you so much for listening to that. I didn't think I'd ever
anytime
tell somebody that, let alone put it on the internet.
Yeah. It was a good story. Great stuff.
I try to make everything have like a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like you gotta kind of pull it all together.
Good thing.
It is a good thing. All right, thanks, buddy.
You bet.
And if you see shadow people, I don't know how to react. I don't know what.
Hey, I'll let you know. I don't know if I'll punch him. Hey, I might. I mean,
How about me? Fight or flight.
Forbid. Good stuff.
Kind of proud of myself for that sometimes.
Oh yeah.